Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to JLJ This Morning here on JLJ Media, and I'm the JLJ of JLJ This Morning and JLJ Media.
I love it.
It's all these JLJs. I'm going to be tired of saying my initials after a while. I'm James Lott Jr. That's what that means. And this is our morning show of encouragement and positivity, and I also bring guests on who feel the same way and do things like that in the world. And he's been throughout JLJ Media as part of JLJ Media in many, many different ways. But we are going to talk about some books that we have done together. This is one book that I came on for him, and I'm wearing actually the exact same shirt in my photo, which you can't see. There, I can go closer. There it is. There,
Yep.
I'm right there in the corner. It's called "You Can Overcome Anything." That's right, kids. You can. Despite the barriers in life, he put this together. He's the moderator. He's the king. He's the leader. He is Cesar Espino. Hello, Cesar.
Hello, James Lott Jr. How are you?
Yeah, fine. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter, and they're JLJ This Morning. So go ahead and follow us and see what's going on over there. I post other things too besides these shows.
Nice.
Okay, so yes, this first book that you put together, "You Can Overcome Anything," is part of your branding, which is "You Can Overcome Anything." You have an original book that came out that you wrote, but
Right.
you decided to compile a book of people sharing their stories. So for folks who don't know, it's a number one bestseller, folks, in many different countries, many different categories. We are an international bestseller. Yay,
Yes.
yay, yay. Before I tell them, I am chapter 8. That's me. Yes, I have hair
Ah.
now. I don't know if the hair thing is getting on my nerves right now, but I have hair. Starting over at 40. Yes, kids. On another show, I thought I was 45. I'll be 52 in May.
Wow.
I'm old.
We have to celebrate big time.
Well, because remember last year I couldn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Lockdown. There wasn't even restaurants open for like even takeout when I went. That was early pandemic. I couldn't do. LA shut down. Remember, LA shut down everywhere. So I had a horrible birthday. So this year I'm ready to go out,
Nice.
do something, I guess. But anyway, positivity, right, folks? And
Yes.
we overcame that, and we're overcoming this stuff. So this concept of getting people together, it's not a new concept. It's happening more and more now. People are doing compilation anthology books where people come together. How'd you come up with this idea of getting 12, 16 people together to do a book?
Yeah, so it really started with, as you mentioned, I have my very first book, "You Can Overcome Anything, Even When the World Says No." That's my solo book. And from that, the idea of starting my own podcast of "You Can Overcome Anything" podcast show, where I will bring people like you into the show, and you guys will talk about your habits, your ideas, things you've done in your life to overcome whatever challenges you were facing at that moment. And so looking at that concept of that podcast and getting so much value of the guest and really talking about, again, all walks of life, right? Like you listen to it, or even look at this book that we did together. People from, like in your case, starting over at 40, overcoming drug abuse, overcoming sexual abuse, all these different things, and then the habits. And I'm like, well, what if I take that same concept of the podcast and now get into a book? Right, something that people can also have, hold and read. And so that's where the idea came about. It's like, well, let's take that same concept into a book, and all walks of life, people sharing their ideas, and just utilize that to really empower, inspire other people, and get them to motivate to say, you know what, you too can overcome anything you're going through.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, I like the concept of all walks of life, because there's somebody, anybody can read this book, pick it up, and you might find one person or several that you can relate to. It's not the same 10 people who look the same, dress the same, act the same, and they say, "Oh, we all have the same." No, it's all varied. I love that. That's a great concept. One of them is your daughter.
Yes.
I don't think I've ever asked you this question. I don't think I've ever asked you this question. Caesar,
Right.
daughter Daisy is in there. She's underneath him. She's like right there.
Yep. Right
She
there.
looks like him.
Look the same.
You guys look the same. You guys
Right.
are twinning. You guys are twinning.
The only difference is that she has hair and I have no hair, but other than that, we're good.
Yeah, totally. You guys are twins. I have a twin mother also.
Yes.
So I know what it feels like. But
yes.
I never asked you this question, Cesar. When you went to your daughter and said, "I want you to write a chapter in the book," were you nervous or apprehensive of what she was going to write about? This is your daughter.
I was, and I was actually just very excited. I was more excited to really get her on the book. At first she's like, yeah, it's a good idea. And then she wanted to back out. And I'm like, no, you got to do it. And so I was not nervous. I was like, I really want her to be on the book. I really want her to write a chapter. I was excited to do something with her, and have a collaboration with her, not really thinking of what she was going to write and what was going to be that. I was actually more like very interested to see what is going to be her story. Like, I mean, I think I knew everything, and then you go through her own, life journey, and what she was facing as in high school. Very similar to when I had my daughter. I had my daughter at the age of 16. She ended up having her son at the age of 16 too, and so that's where her story of that and seeing that, it was just very interesting, right? So I was very excited to have her in the book.
Yeah, when I read it, I was like, it's very, the little parallel there. I was like, how
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah, yeah,
How
yeah.
how that can happen, right? And I followed
Right.
my parents. 18 had a kid, 18 had a kid. I mean, so we kind of follow, we inadvertently follow our
it
parents
it
sometimes.
looks like the cycle, yeah, like the cycle, recycles, or comes all over again, right? And it's just like, yeah, it's kind of cool.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, it's a good chapter. So yeah, I don't. I was thinking I never asked you that question. All these shows you've done, I never asked you about because I mean, I did one podcast with my grandson. I
Yes,
did one.
with your granddaughter too, right?
Not my granddaughter, my daughter. One of my daughters. My daughter and I did a
Okay.
show together, and then my grandson and I did the left-handed show together. And it's
Yeah,
a trip working with your children. I mean, like
yeah, yeah,
it's a trip just like with them because you raise them and your dad or whatever, and then
yeah.
now you're looking at them going, oh, they're human beings
Right, exactly.
that have feelings, that have feelings for their own thoughts. Kinda
Right,
crazy.
right,
Um,
right.
so how did you go about finding people for this book?
Yeah, so a lot of the people, well, actually, I would say a handful of those people either found them through either networking events, right? So again, being in uh, high masterminds, or networking events where it's all about self development. Some of the other people were found through associations from other people, right? Hey, I know this person that may be a good fit for you, and so I jump on the call with them and interview them, or have I won't call them an interview, but a quick 10 to 15 minute conversation to make sure that they were a good fit for the book, right? um, it really came down from that, just networking, and being dealing with people that are in a higher vibration, I guess, and just kind of connecting with those people in that way. And to me, I was looking for that story. I was looking for, what is one thing you've overcome in your life? Tell me about it. And that's the other thing too. You talk about it. It's not one flavor. It's not one person. Or, and even if it was 16 different people, they're not just talking about one particular topic. It's different topics, right? Again, it's different things people have gone through, and that's why I really enjoy the contribution on this book, is that there's so many different people that have so many different stories that are way different than the other, yet it's still a very impactful story to give you, the reader.
Yeah, no, that's right. It's good. Were there out of all the books for you, because you had to edit the book and everything,
Yeah.
was there one story that totally stood out for you besides your own, obviously?
You know what? Man, I don't know. It's hard to tell, right? It's hard to tell. There's a lot of the stories with all of the books that, I get to read each chapter before it gets published, right? And so I'm very blessed with that. And as I'm reading some of those things, I'm like, wow, like I'm getting all these ideas and I'm getting all these things. And I remember on this very first book, writing this, there were some stories that I was going through some challenges, and reading some of the stories kind of helped me with that. Same thing with this book that's gonna come out. I have another book coming out on Tuesday, and there's a particular story or stories that I read. I'm like, you know what is really aligned with some of the challenges that I'm facing right now. Because that's one thing too. Is like, just because I'm very positive and optimistic doesn't mean that I'm not a human. We all go through different things, and we all have different challenges. And so, how you combat and face those challenges is again through reading these books, to having connections like like, hey James, I need help, or whatever the case may be, right? It's that. And that's how you step out of that. So it's hard to tell. I gotta tell you, I think every story is unique. Every story has a, a message that for me I resonated because I'm in this space, right?
Yeah. And so I think the
So
lesson
yeah.
for everybody out there is, no man is an island. We are a group. We are a we are a community. I mean, I say community. It could be you could be living in Missouri and I live in LA. It doesn't matter. We're a big giant community that needs to help each other out. And I think these stories, for sure, you could read one and you may relate to it. It may help you in some situation that you're not even expecting. Or you may read a story helps you understand somebody maybe in your life that's going through something that it's not you going through it, but someone you know is going kind of something. And you're like, oh, okay, now I get maybe possibly where they're coming from.
Right. And you know what, to add to that, and actually it reminds me of this African proverb, that if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Right. And it goes back to what you just mentioned. Like, there's no one man island. If you want to really go far, it's going to be, do a collaboration with people, or join forces with other people in many different aspects. And obviously you and I have done so much stuff, and I'm very grateful for our friendship and everything we've done. We've done so many different things together, and it's really about that. It's about building that resilience of that abundance of friendship and connections. And I think for anyone listening to this or even watching this is, again, you don't have to necessarily do a project with somebody, but the fact that you're reading a book like this with multiple different authors, you're doing things with other people, which is going to take you far.
I agree. I appreciate our friendship too, Cesar. Thank you.
Yes.
So folks, as you can overcome anything despite the barriers in life, Cesar R. Espino and contributing authors, including James Lott Jr.
Yes.
So tell me they can find a book. Tell me they can find it.
So you can find any of these books, right? Any of these books, and the new one coming up on Amazon. You can just type in my name, Cesar R. Espino, or you can actually go to my website, CesarRespino.com, and you can find all of that stuff. Our songs that we have together, everything is there. So you can just find it.
Yes.
When I get to where to be as James Lott Jr., you can probably just Google my name, which you could, by the way, and you can find all the things too.
I know people always Google me. They go, "Well, James, you're everywhere." I'm like, I'm on the front page.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
I worked very hard. 14 years. Worked very hard to get there.
Right.
But you're getting there too. You're gonna be on there.
Yes.
Yes. You're an R. Espino for a reason. Isn't the R is for a reason? Because there's somebody else named Cesar Espino who's on.
Yeah. If you were to Google Cesar Espino, you're gonna find somebody that's not me. If you were to Google Cesar R. Espino, you're gonna find all my books, songs, everything that I do. Google me, or just go to my website or Amazon.
Everybody, JLJ this morning. Everybody, please. You can overcome anything. And it can be anything large or small, and you're having your day-to-day. Sometimes overcoming traffic in Los Angeles, or running out of gas in the car, or getting something to eat, whatever it is, you can overcome it, and also large things too. We'll see you next time.
Yes.